Peace. Good morning. How you doing? It's Mr. R2 here at Consistency is Currency, your morning podcast of choice. I just want to say it is Monday. It is, I got to look at the date like I can see it. March the 6th. It is the sixth day in the third month of the year. It is March the 6th. This is Monday. So, however your weekend was, I pray that your weekend was a okay, prosperous weekend or a relaxing weekend or whatever it was that you did, or whatever it was that you wanted to do. Hopefully you did get it done, and hopefully you came back safe, sound, without issue, without situation. Whatever it is for you. Oh, Miss Scott, she the first one in the room. Let's give a round of applause to Miss Scott. I need to change my thing where I get the hand clap and applause, where they be cheering like woo, whatever that is, that sound they be pushing buttons for. Good morning, Miss Scott. I appreciate you for being here. Glad for you to see you are alive and well in this digital space. We're able to share our thoughts and to transcend energy from one to the next. So I appreciate you for just being here in this space. Like always, if you don't get any sort of gratitude throughout the day, just know that you can come here to Consistency is Currency and get a little bit of gratitude, get a cup of gratitude that can hopefully you can pour into the rest of your day. So just know that you're gonna get it here in the morning at 7:30, right here at Consistency is Currency. So how was your weekend, Miss Scott? I pray that it was good. I pray that whatever you wanted to get done got done, or whatever you didn't want to do, you didn't do. So whatever it was for you, I just hope that it was good and fitting for however you wanted to design it. All right, so today we're talking about something very interesting. We're talking about habit stacking. Let me put this. Man, where'd it go? Let me put this caption up. I know I made it. Uh, oh Lord, I know I did. It don't matter. It's all technology. I can create a whole new one. Um, so there I go. So I'm interested in learning. Peace. Good morning, Mr. Tony. So what I'm interested in learning is name two habits that you know that are unfavorable to you. Now, this is an open dialogue question. We're gonna walk through so many doors today. What two habits that you have that you know are unfavorable to you? Now, if you're open and honest and transparent enough to put that out there into the atmosphere for you to look at it for yourself and examine it for yourself, what two habits, just two, those, don't give me a whole journal entry full of habits, just give me two. Give me two habits that you know that you have been knowing about you that is unfavorable. I'm not going to say two bad habits. I mean, there's enough bad stuff to happen in our day. I will use a word that's unfavorable because you know that it could be something that's different. So, what two habits that you have that are unfavorable to you? That's an open question. That's today's question of the day. Name two habits that you know that are unfavorable to you. So, all right, let's go ahead and jump into it. I got a lot to do today. Today's Monday. So, we're talking about habit stacking. And because we're talking about habit stacking, there has to be a place of origin if we're talking about habit stacking. And the place of origin when we're communicating about habit stacking really comes from the individual itself. It comes from you. It comes from your subconscious. It comes from the things that you know that you do. It comes from the current things that you're doing in this present moment for you. So let's go ahead and take this jump. And then after we get finished jumping, we're going to dive in into this deep dive. Go ahead and answer the question right there. What are two habits that you have that are unfavorable to you? All right, like you already know, you're going to get definition of words and you're going to get inversions of definitions as well. So the very first definition of the word habit is a settled or regular tendency or practice, especially one that is hard to give up. So the first definition is a settled or regular tendency or practice, especially one that is hard to give up. And the inversion that I want you to pay attention to is white over red, which is a settled or regular tendency. A settled or regular tendency. So it's like, what is that thing that you do daily? That thing that you do when you wake up, that thing that you do before you lay down, those things that you're doing on a regular basis throughout your day. That's formulating your habit, be it good or be it something that can be different. It is a settled thing. That is something that you have settled inside of your mind, that you have a subconscious and conscious decision that you're making and why you do this particular thing. Again, be it good, great, awesome, dope, whatever word that you want to use, or be it something that is detrimental, sabotaging, unbeneficial, unfavorable, undesigned thing that you do. All of it is still a habit. It is something that is created specifically by you, not by somebody else, not using someone else as a wall in order to block you from seeing that the habit is generating from you. And the next definition I want you to pay attention to, it says a routine or behavior that is repeated regularly and tends to occur subconsciously. Now I'm gonna go with my first. Well, the originally is white over red, but I'm gonna start red because a lot of times uh we use things, but we hide behind things as well. So let's start with red over white real quick. And it says it tends to occur subconsciously. We know there are some things that we can say that is subconscious that is not subconscious. So we hide behind it and we don't examine it and look at it from an honest perspective because a habit has to have a level of accountability attached to it. A habit has to have a level of transparency attached to it. We can't always say that habit is a subconscious thing that we don't know why we do it because there are times where we know why we're doing it. We know that that thing that we're doing is not all subconscious. That's probably the biggest lie that a lot of us tell ourselves or tell other people on why we did this thing because we did not want to look at it and face it head on in order to acknowledge that that thing that we're doing, we did it intentionally or we did it out of fear or we did it because we didn't like something or someone. We did it because we have hate in our heart. We did it because we didn't forgive. All of those things is not always a subconscious habit that you're doing or having towards someone or towards a specific thing. So don't go around and tell yourself that lie that it is a subconscious thing. There are some things that you know why you're doing it. If you want to be real with yourself, if you want to be honest with yourself, if you want to be transparent enough to acknowledge that that is not a subconscious thing that is occurring. That is a real life thing that you need to get over or a real life thing that you need to get out of your way. All right, now I got that out the way. So now we can look at the white over red, which is a routine or behavior that is repeated regularly. Hey, before we continue, I want you to take this live right now and share it on your news feed or share it inside a Facebook group. Because when we get into the deep dive, there's going to be some transparent doors open. And after you finish sharing it, go ahead and put the word done inside the chat. All right. So it says a routine or behavior that is repeated regularly. And one thing that I like about habit, that there are several components of habit. And I love the definition right here because it it voices two of those components of habit: routine and behavior. Two components of a habit is a routine and a behavior. Those things that you, what it said before in the last definition, settled. Like you're settled on doing that particular thing. And as you settle on doing this thing over and over again, then that becomes a routine and it becomes a behavioral habit. It becomes something that is done without you even thinking about it because you've thought about it for so long. And now you have to learn how to break it. It says a routine or behavior that is repeated regularly. So, what are you doing right now that has become a routine of yours? It doesn't always have to be an unfavorable routine, it can be a very favorable routine. Like, I get up in the morning and I do these things in the morning, ensure that I'm doing these things because it helps me throughout the day. Because it's a routine, it also becomes a ritual, it also becomes a habit, and a lot of that is even grounded within the fabric of your very own character. Some of us need to have a character check before we can have a behavioral check, or before we can have a check on our routine, or before we can acknowledge that this is now a habit. It could be one of the biggest character flaws that you have before it became a habit. But if you look at the character that you are and the character that you have came away from, it should be two different things. So let's talk about this. Now, this is the definition I love about habit. Like, I couldn't even invert anything because it just hits so powerful by itself. In the habit, the definition of habit, it says an automatic reaction to a specific situation. Now, this was clear as day. And I don't think a lot of us look at it this way. I think if a lot of us look at our habits this way, then we might be able to look at the things that we're doing and maybe see that there is something that can be altered or something that can be empowered. It is an automatic reaction to a specific situation. What is your automatic reaction to the things that you do? Like, what is it? Like, if this is a light bulb that clicks and you start, speaking life into a situation, or is it something that you always do that speaks death and that creates an unfavorable response to a specific situation? Like procrastination could be an automatic reaction to a specific situation. Like, I don't want to do it. I don't feel like doing it. Okay, that's true. That's why it's not going to get done. That is a habit that you do when you first hear that you got work to do. Like, I don't want to do it. Okay, keep doing that. And you look at your children and you wonder why they act the way they act. They got it from you. They got it from your unfavorable habits. So don't get upset at them. Don't get mad at them. They got it from watching the habits that you display. So what habits are you displaying in your home and you wondering why that habit is now circulating within the energy in the room? Don't look at your child that way. It could have been the possible origin of where that habit came from. Maybe it's you. Again, the definition says an automatic reaction to a specific situation. Because when you're looking at habits, you got to get so specific. Like, what is this habit doing for me? Is this habit that I'm using or exemplifying, is it a habit that is going to be able to build me up? Or have I utilized the subconscious excuse on why I do this settled thing that tears me down, that puts me in the box, that throws me in a ditch, and I'm trying to figure out how to get out of this ditch? Maybe you should look at the habits that got you in there. Maybe you should look at the habits that you have created that puts you in a place to where you can no longer look up, because everything that you looked up at was really a habit that you didn't want to be truthful about. All right, I'm gonna leave that alone. So let's get ready to get in the process of habit stacking. Like, when you begin to habit stack, you look at and examine the reality of your life and look at and examine the reality of your outcome, because you want to start to disassemble some habits that shouldn't be in there, and you start stacking better habits, because stacking better habits actually begin to stack better outcomes, actually begins to stack more favorable results, actually begins to stack more progress, because you've acknowledged the process that needs to take place in order for the outcome to be beneficial to you. So let's go into this deep dive. I was looking at something this morning, and it said great men are not born great, they grow great. Great men are not born great, they grow great. That comes from the foundation of habits, because a habit begins the process of growth. Like, I want to be this, so I have to do this particular thing over and over again. Like, before you become great, you got to be, one, acknowledge that this need to be done, and then you become good at it because you develop a routine on how it needs to be done, and then you grow great. So if there's something that you're doing right now and it's affecting your life, whether it be positive or whether it be unfavorable, look at the process of growth. It's going to take a while. It's going to take some time. You're going to be great. But look at the habits that you're stacking. If the habits that you're stacking is not favorable to the future you, then maybe you need to examine those habits that are stacked and unstack those habits and realign favorable habits with your future you. Because what you do daily is a component of your future results. I mean, it is, you got to look at it like, what are the components of the things that I do daily? And is it going to be beneficial to the future me? If what I do daily is not beneficial to the future me, then maybe I need to unstack that habit and begin to stack habits that is going to be within the best interest of the direction that I'm going, because habit is a compound interest to your own self development, right? Look at it that way from stocks. If you're looking at the compound interest of something, that means it's going to what? It's going to grow and it's going to expand and it's going to become bountiful. But if you look at your habits as compound interest, things will continue to happen better for you because you are creating and stacking favorable habits. So your habits is the compound interest of your own personal and self-development, and your self-improvement is based off the habits that you stack, the compound interest. I mean, for real, it's like your habit can even become the process of your superpower, and it unlocks today's discipline for tomorrow's appreciation. Have you ever done something and you're like, man, I'm so glad I changed the way I did things? Because if I didn't change the way I did things, I might not be where I am right now today. That habit, that alteration of habit became your superpower to the future you. You can look at yourself in the mirror and be proud of who you are because you've changed something about the habit that you used to do when you was 18 and 19 and 21 and 25 and 28 and 29 and 30 and 35. There was something about your habit that you had to change and alter that really became the appreciation to your today's gratitude. And the changing of that habit became your superpower. Just think about it. Like this is why our brains is like evidence weighing scales, because the heavier the task, the more favorable evidence in our minds that weighs on a particular thing. Like, okay, I want to do this. So what does this look like? You're starting to look at, okay, when I do this, this is the result. This is good. So then it becomes the favorable evidence that our mind begins to weigh on, like, this is a great thing. Because the stronger the will, the stronger the belief in it will be. If I'm looking at something and it is a strong will of mine to complete this task, then I'm already going to have a strength within my belief system to tell me that I can get this done because I've already done it before. I know some of us, we've all heard it, practice makes perfect and all this good stuff. I mean, yeah, it's good, it's cool to some, but practice really creates an experience that builds confidence. I'm gonna say that again. Don't be stealing it. I mean, if you do post it, tag me and put my name on it, whatever, whatever. Practice creates an experience that will build the confidence. So that's why when you're journaling or when you're writing down your vision or you're creating something for yourself, you're practicing your affirmations, whatever it is, that practice creates an experience that will build your confidence to even acknowledge that your habits of being disciplined will defeat your procrastination because you're practicing on changing your habits. You're actively doing something and you're not just talking about it. You're not just saying that you have these subconscious way of doing things. Like, no, it takes work. Habit and discipline both takes work. Procrastination, you can sit your tail down and do nothing about it. It doesn't take any work. You can lay down and procrastinate, but you got to get up and become disciplined. You have to work on habits. You have to practice good habits. You have to grab a book and read in order for you to actually do it. It takes work to have a good habit. It takes work to stack habits. It takes work to be disciplined. It takes work to be determined. It takes work. It does not take work to procrastinate. So you say, well, I need a I got a bad habit with procrastination. No, you got a habit of not doing anything about it. Don't blame that procrastination on somebody else. You didn't do anything, so it equals procrastination. But when you start doing something about your procrastination, you begin to develop new levels and new lines of discipline because you're doing the work that is going to require you to unstack that habit that it becomes unfavorable to you and stack good habits that's going to tap into the future you. So, what habits have you stacked in the past 3 months? I know I said it at the beginning of the podcast. You didn't answer it. So maybe there's something about your habits that you haven't been transparent, honest about. So what habits have you stacked in the past 3 months that you know that really haven't been unfavorable to you? And how do you stop bad habits? How do you break them? I'm gonna tell you the key to breaking bad habits. The key to break bad habits is with the truth. That's the key. The key to breaking bad habits is with the truth. And because the key to bad habits is to break it with the truth, is going to allow you to examine, is it an excuse that I'm saying, or is it something factual about it? Again, the key to breaking bad habits is with the truth. It is with transparency. It is with accountability. You can break the bad habit with the truth, because if the habit is favorable, then the habit is going to reap a reward. If the habit is not favorable, then the habit is going to be the downfall or the demise of the future you. There is no other way around it. All right, I'm gonna leave that alone. Peace. Good morning, Miss Anderson. Good morning, Mecca. So, where are your habits taking you? I mean, what are my unfavorable habits that I have? Some may see it. It might not be an unfavorable habit, but it is. It's mine. I can share mine. A lot of times, my unfavorable habit is not really putting myself first. Sometimes it can be a favorable habit to those who receive, but an unfavorable habit of mine of not allowing myself to tell me that I'm important. So let me do what I need to do. But I always put a lot of other people and a lot of other things before me. And I hide behind the subconscious of saying I like helping people. That's not a bad thing. That's me acknowledging my truth. Yeah, I like helping people, but I can't forget that I'm just as important as the people that I'm helping. I can expose my habit, but can you? That's something that is a daily conversation that I have with myself. I mean, that's really why I do the podcast in the morning, because I don't have to share it with anyone. I don't have to share this moment with anyone except those who watch. I mean, I appreciate you 100%. That's why I always start with the spirit of gratitude, just to say and to show my appreciations for you. That is a daily habit of saying good morning, of saying I appreciate you, of saying I'm showing you gratitude. That is a daily habit, because there's plenty of people throughout their day, they don't get gratitude, they aren't shown appreciation, but I always want to give it in the morning, because we go throughout the day without receiving it at all. So I made it a habit to show appreciation in the morning, because appreciation is very important to me, and I make it important to you because I want to pour that into you. If I can pour appreciation into your cup in the morning, that may be something that you can be open enough to receive. A small little cup of appreciation in the morning. All right, that's enough. But I appreciate you again, like always, being here, tapping in to consistency is currency. We talked today about habit stacking. Acknowledge your habits, acknowledge the things that you do, acknowledge and be transparent enough about unstacking unfavorable habits and stacking the habits that is going to pour in to your future you. All right, it's Mr. R2 here at Consistency is Currency. Like I always say, your morning podcast of choice. Go ahead and drop in the comment section the things that were your takeaways, the things that were favorable to you. And the thing, shoot, you can write the things that you didn't like that I said. It really won't affect me. I've done what I was supposed to do in the morning, and I poured into those who was willing to receive. And I appreciate you. All right, y'all be blessed. Peace.